What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be giving a leveling guide from both Michael Owen and Denis Law, explaining why they're such an effective striking partnership and also a reason why you might not want to spin from Michael Owen if you have a different striker, or even if you do spin from a certain build you can use so you get the best out of both strikers. So this is the build I have for Denis Law. I feel like overall this is the best build, although there was one stat I leveled up high that I was a bit disappointed in, but we'll get to that in a minute. I don't think, like Owen, this build is dependent on you having a different player in your club, so I would use this regardless of any player you have, just because it's really well-rounded and it's got good stats in good areas, namely the offensive awareness. It allowed him to get on the end of so many different passes, and also because he has the 88 speed and 96 acceleration, I feel like those two stats kind of play into offensive awareness. So the faster your player is, I feel like the better offensive awareness performs in game. His dribbling was only, around 80. I didn't feel like it was a major issue. It wasn't like I couldn't dribble with him, but it definitely was kind of a lacking strength in his play. Like, I wouldn't taken ambitious risks with him on the ball. I was looking to get the ball to him, draw the defender in and release it quickly. Now, the stat that was an issue would be jumping. I feel like he would attempt to go for the ball a lot, but didn't score too many headers. Actually, didn't score any headers, but he did win a few balls, like kind of, in the build-up play. To be fair, I was playing a narrow formation, so I wouldn't have had too many crossing opportunities, so I kind of didn't play into his strength in that regard. But with the way heading is in this game, I wouldn't really rely on scoring from headers. Another stat that I'm a bit disappointed in was the 95 finishing. I feel like he didn't finish too strong, and I'm confused because if I level his finishing higher, is it really going to get much better? He only has 95 finishing, but I think that's mainly due to the kicking power. The only problem is I've already put 9 points into shooting and 9 into lower body strength, so I don't think there's too much you can do about Denis Law to make him a really clinical finisher. You're just kind of hoping he's well-rounded enough and he plays more of a second striker so he can set up the other striker to be the guy who's scoring all the goals. But if the ball does come to him, 8 times out of 10 he will finish it, but you're just looking to have a striker alongside him that will finish 9 times out of 10. Now, he starts off with very good skills, but the main one he's missing, and it explains why I didn't feel like his 95 jumping was too effective, is he doesn't have aerial priority. So definitely make that a top priority if you're going to get this Denis Law. He already has true passing and one-touch pass and heel trick, so like I said, he's a good second striker to set up your teammate, but you're going to have to try get him a double touch, a cut behind and turn, a Marseille turn, or a scissors feint to help him when there's no passing on and he needs to do it himself. If you don't have any of those skills handy through the legacy transfer, you can also put cut behind and turn on, or weighted pass to additionally help with the passing, but he doesn't have great low pass stats on this build, so I probably wouldn't put the weighted pass on. Finally, and this is something I notice with players with high attack awareness, I'd recommend Super Sub. Definitely just because if you do get aerial superiority on him and you have Super Sub, if you're trying to hold on to a lead, he would be good as a striker for when you're counter-attacking. After defending and sitting deep, you can hit it up to him and he can restart your counter-attack. And I noticed that players with high attacking awareness perform better in Super Sub. I have it on my big time Michael Owen. I have it on Cristiano Ronaldo, Olivier Giroud. All these players with high attacking awareness seem to be really good with Super Sub, where you have an asymmetrical winger setup. And basically the idea behind this tactic is when you have the ball with David Beckham, Denis Law comes short here, Bullet goes in behind, Mateus goes forward for this overlap while Owen comes in central. And because Denis Law has got very high weak foot and he's good at passing and he's good at physical, he's perfect for this pass into here from Beckham. He can then find Hullet, Owen or Mateus for the overlap. Now, for Michael Owen, I've got 2 builds. One for if you don't have Saviola and one for if you do. The one you're currently looking at is one for if you do have Saviola. And the reason I have the difference in builds is just because of how similar Saviola and Owen are, but Saviola has greater strengths in key areas like dribbling and balance. So here's looking at the well-rounded build. You're basically putting all your points into shooting, dexterity and lower body. The difference between this build and I guess the more Saviola build is that instead of getting tight possession to 83 before all the boosts, you get at 85, so that means you get +3 due to the new manager boost. So it's a pretty similar build, but your finishing is 5 less. And I used to have the big time Owen, and I used this build here, so better dribbling actually, and I still couldn't dribble well with him, and I feel like it's due to player ID or something. So when I switched to a build on this big time Owen with 95 finishing, I felt like I had a lot more success. And you'll see in the clips that Michael Owen is really good at getting on the end of passes, so it's similar to Denis Law in the sense that because his offensive awareness and acceleration and speed are so high, even if the defender is there to block the pass, the game just lets it go through sometimes. So he's definitely a player I wouldn't use to start my attacks. He's more to get on the end of them. Okay, how has he gotten on the end of that? How has he gotten on the end of that? Another thing I want to comment on is he was actually really good at pressing. He doesn't have good aggression. My roomie has about 70 or 75 aggression, and I notice he presses very well. But Michael Owen with 48 aggression still did a good job of winning the ball back, and it's obviously just due to his speed and acceleration. So when you're using them, I wouldn't put counter target on him. I'd definitely make use of that pace and try press the opponent's backline and win the ball high up the pitch. Now, what skills would I put on Michael Owen? Well, I started off with true passing on him, and I did think it helped. He was able to lay it off to Denis Law or other players a few times. It wasn't amazing. There was a couple times where the pass didn't reach the target, but I do think basically any player on the pitch should have a true passing on them, but I definitely think the strikers should be, after your centre mids, the top priority for true passing. Other skills to put on him, I think he needs long range shooting. He was missing maybe not like necessarily long shots, but just on the edge of the box. Like, it's kind of a striker's finish, but he still couldn't score them, and he wasn't much threat. So I would definitely put long range shooting on him. After that, I'm definitely thinking double touch, just cause I said his dribbling wasn't great. So if you can rely on the double touch and use the animation to get by the defenders, it'll help him add new dimension to his game. I think he also needs cut behind and turn, just because he has very high weak foot. I think cut behind and turn is great for players with very high weak foot because he can quickly shift it to the opposite side and still shoot with the other foot. So definitely consider cut behind and turn. And also one touch pass, just because you're gonna be relying on 1-2s with him a lot. He's amazing at 1-2s. He's probably the best player in the game for getting on the end of a pass. So if you can have one touch pass to send it back, it'd be amazing. You could also consider super sub if he's not someone who would 100% start for you. Like I said, for Denis Law, when a player has really good offensive awareness, speed and acceleration, they become amazing when you have super sub. So he would be great even if your opponent is parking the bus last minute and there's a lot of people sat in the box, because he's got those kind of stats for getting on the end of passes with the super sub boost. Even if the defender should intercept, I feel like it might still get through to him sometimes. Between Owen and Saviola, who's the best? I'm going to stick with Saviola. I think you can see from the dribbling, obviously it's this build that Saviola has better dribbling, but like I said before, from my previous experience, because I've had, both Epic, Saviola and Owen, and then I've got to use both boosters. I feel like Saviola is always just going to be a better dribbler because of the player ID. Now, Owen in this build has better finishing. I would agree that he probably is a better finisher, but look at the kicking power. Surprisingly, Saviola has a lot better kicking power, and kicking power was traditionally Saviola's weakness. So I would think I'd rather take 90 finishing and 88 kicking power than 95 finishing and 80 kicking power. And because of the amount of points I already put into Michael Owen's lower body strength, he can't really get it too much higher. Not high enough anyway for it to be really effective. So I do think overall Saviola's probably still a better finisher. Who's faster? I would say Owen is faster. I mean, it makes sense looking at the stats. Like Saviola has really good runs, gets on the end of all the passes really well, but so does Owen, and Owen's probably just a little bit better. So I think I would go with Owen in that regard. But look at the balance as well. And this is probably another factor as to why I think Saviola's better. He's just got a lot better balance, and he's got better passing too. So, I think true passing is really important on all of your strikers. This isn't my account, it's a subs account. He hasn't got true passing on Saviola yet, but once he does, you would definitely notice the better passing. The weak foot is the biggest factor between why Owen might be better if you're someone who needs your striker to finish on both feet. So Owen got 5 games played with him, 8 goals and 2 assists. So definitely a very impressive return in Division 1. So definitely a great player, but I don't know, I think if you have Saviola, it's probably not worth getting him. Because I wouldn't start both of them. They're both too short to both play up front at the same time. And then if you have the big time Owen, I wouldn't upgrade either. Just kind of a general tendency. I don't think the upgrades are usually worth it.